I watch Attack on Titan. There's not much you can do that will surprise me in a movie. Like, you don't understand, Attack on Titan is some crazy stuff. And Mother is one of those movies that also has some crazy stuff goes on to it. And on this episode Movie Breakdowns, I'm going to review this Patreon request by Steve, Mother, 2017. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And there's a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. Also the Patreon /Ali for $2 a month. Get a cut in front of everybody, get your review out way before it comes on Facebook and YouTube. You also get trade reaction, trade review, and much more thoughts on there. Now let's go ahead and get into today's episode, 2017's Mother. So this is a request as well from Steve. He reached out to me a few weeks ago and said, hey, can you request the movie Mother? I was looking for it, finally found it, and it was on my next to-do list, and here we are. So Mother, what is this movie about? This movie is about a wife and her husband who live in a Victorian house, and they're rebuilding this house back up. The wife is rebuilding the house from scratch herself, and the husband's a writer who's currently going through writer's block. And you have a stranger who approaches the family, and the husband decides to let the stranger stay while the wife is like, okay, just one night. Then all of a sudden, the rest of the stranger's family starts to move in, and the husband is being more attentive and being more welcoming and have them in his house over the wife, who's trying to figure out what is happening and why is her husband not paying attention to her more. That is the gist of Mother. Pretty much what you got. And this movie is a horror movie, 2 hours and 1 minute long, horror movie. And for the first, and this is a spoiler review, guys, for the first hour and 15 minutes, it kept that horror vibe. I felt that. It was more of a psychological horror, more of a thriller, where you have this character who, played by Jennifer Lawrence, who is mild-mannered, meek. She's not that strong, not willing to stand up for herself, and not really being upfront and blunt about stuff. Things are happening, and she's like, "Hey, can you not do that? Can you please don't? Hey, can you sit off of that? Hey, can you not smoke in the house? Please don't." Like, she is not being upfront and saying, "Hey, what are you doing in my house? Why you're on my kitchen counter? Told you get off my kitchen counter twice. I'm not gonna make this again. I will kick you out my house," with no like hesitation. Like, she was being more, "Hey, can you not sit on that? Please don't." And over time, you can see her kind of get a set, grow a pair, and kind of stand up for herself. But by that point, it's way too late in the movie. Like, this whole thing of her being mild-mannered and meek gave me anxiety. I was under like the horror of her like not speaking up and watching what's being portrayed on screen. The stranger bring his wife in, his wife and him are getting on the room, and they're pretty much acting like, "Why you intervening in our time? Y'all, you're in my place. Why are you in my room? Why are you acting this? Like, no." And one of the strangers, I'm going to talk about her. She is the wife of the other stranger. So you have Ed, who is a doctor, and then Ed's wife, what do they even call her? She played by Michelle Pfeiffer. I believe she's called The Woman. Yeah, The Woman is Michelle Pfeiffer's character. And she is acting like she runs the place. She's doing this, doing that, being upfront, telling Jennifer Lawrence's character how to do things and how to live her life. And I'm just like, who are you? I'm giving this unsolicited advice in my place. I'm getting upset for Jennifer Lawrence's character. I'm like, no, get out of my place. You don't belong here. Not in my house. Not in my house. Not up in here. Think of the rest of the page's quote. "This is my house. Yeah, welcome to my house." Nah, you don't get out of my house. Like, what are you doing? Why are you here? And Jennifer Lawrence's character was just so mild-mannered and meek about it. I was just like, please speak up for yourself, because your husband Javier Bardem was not doing it for you. He's like, "Oh, these people love me." By the way, he's a poet who's a very famous poet, and the man who's a doctor and his wife, they're fans of the poet. So he is soaking this all in, which then I can see this from a point of view of a person who's dating celebrity, of a person who maybe not be famous or don't know the limelight, is married to somebody who's in the limelight, who's in the celebrity spotlight, and people who are fantasizing and people who are putting these people on a pedestal and just worshiping celebrities, and these celebrities who are, you know, embrace it and they enjoy it. They want to be yearned and they want to be like sought after and they want to have the feeling of being wanted and just be somebody. Like, I can see that in the wife who Jennifer Lawrence character is like, no, I just want you. I don't want this. I don't want them. I just want you, my husband, because that's who you were to me. I know you're a poet and I know you're famous, but you're my husband and I just want you. I just want to spend time with you. And I can see that standpoint of a wife or a girlfriend, or somebody who's dating a celebrity and they are just hoping that they come back to them. Like, they come back home. They come back and spend time together. I can see that. You know, they're like sharing the celebrity with the rest of the world, but they just want the celebrity to come back in. I get that. That part I saw, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty interesting thing. And Javier Bardem can't see that. He wants to be yearned by everybody, and he gets that in this movie, which leads me to the part I don't like. But before I get into that part, let's talk about the things I like, which I already talked about already just in this opening. I actually like the horror aspect of somebody who's experiencing somebody who doesn't want to be with them, who wants to be in the limelight more than to be at home and be a husband or be a wife or whatever the case may be. Like, they're just like, I want the people to yearn for me. I want this, like, and not give back to it. Like, I can feel that. I like that storyline. I like that beat there. I like the whole hour and 15 minutes part of the movie, the first part, hour and 50 minutes of the movie, where you have this character comes in and they act like they're running plays, and this meek mannered character can't speak up for herself. You're just like, speak up for yourself. I like the horror aspect of it. I really wanted that. I wanted that too. I really wanted her to speak up. I wanted Jennifer Lawrence to speak up. Like, I was invested into that part of the movie. Like, I enjoyed that. Camera angles. There's some camera angles I like. There's some tricks. For example, there's a scene where the doctor and his wife are sitting together talking about like how they found each other and their loves like that and all this and this, and they show them together, but then it's a table of them sitting down right now. So you paint the picture for you. You have the doctor and his wife sitting here, and on the other side of the table you have Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence sitting there, and the camera angle only shows the husband and wife together, but when they show Jennifer Lawrence and Bardem, they only show one person and one person. They don't show them together in the scene. They actually show them, like, until they cut to them, it's like you're seeing just that person. Like, you see Bardem on his own page, on his own screen, and you see Jennifer Lawrence on her own screen, and they never showed them together in the screen in that dinner and that lunch scene. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I was like, that's an interesting take. You have a couple who they show them side by side, camera work, but then you have the husband and wife who are also dating, but they're not, like, they're married together, but they don't show them side by side. They show them in their own frames. I thought that was a little neat camera work there to show you there's some split there, and you would have caught that, you would have known. Also, another thing, I caught the ending. I caught the whole idea of Jennifer Lawrence being the house. My friend Steve, I told him, like, hey man, she was the house, and he's like, she wasn't the house. My interpretation of it, she was the house. Anytime she felt painting the house and she put her hands on the walls like that, she felt a heartbeat. That heartbeat was her heartbeat. She is the house. I was like, what is this, Monster House? Before I even got into what the actual ending was. This is like probably 40 minutes into the movie. Like, she would touch that wall and then feel a heartbeat, something like that. And I was like, this is her. I'm not sure how I figured that, but I was like, the house is living. And I was like, this is Monster House 2017. Holy crap, I just made that up on the spot, and that's legit. Monster House says, because Monster House was a woman as well. The house was a woman in Monster House, and the Mother movie, the woman is the house. But anyway, that's probably something everybody's like, nah man, you're not right on that one. Hey, you tip me with those same things, now show it to me and I'll be like, yeah, there's not the house. Why the house beating? Why is there a heartbeat? Get at me. Freaking Javier Bardem says it. He says, you are the house. And I am I. What does that mean? I don't know, but I figured she was the house. Anyway, things I didn't like. That third act. What reason? I get the whole concept of celebrity being, you know, put on a pedestal and people worshiping them. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, like I get that. Like I can see that. Tom Brady, like Messi, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, like those characters, the people, but those athletes get put on pedestals a lot. Writers, authors, celebrities, musicians, Michael Jackson, like they get put on pedestals and people want to touch them. People want to be around them. People want to do this. People make quotes about them. People make these, get people on bandwagons who like Michael Jordan's better than LeBron James any day of the week, yada, yada, yada. Like people do this stuff and I can see it and I see that. And just imagine dating. Just imagine dating, for example, me dating Scarlett Johansson. Being married to Scarlett Johansson and she's going out there producing movies and doing these things and doing that, being awesome, being amazing. And you know, you're back home and taking care of the kids and doing this and doing that. And I can see like if Scarlett was being like a jerk about like, oh, I have a husband and kids at home, but I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and really like I know I should get back to my family and give them time, but I really don't want to. I'm gonna just bask in the glory of all these people worshiping me and making these shrines and doing this stuff. Not saying Scarlett Johansson would do that. I'll just throw that out there because from a celebrity crush growing up. Anyway, so like imagine that. Like just think about that. Put yourself in those shoes of somebody who's actually dating somebody or married somebody who is a celebrity. Like that concept, I sit on that because that hit me so hard for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it gets me. And then you have this whole thing with people, like he's letting everybody in the house, people stealing stuff, and then it turns into a whole war zone. And I was like, what? This makes no sense at all. I actually laughed a few times in the third act because I was like, this is ridiculous. This is over the top, outrageous. What kind of movie is this? Like there's a scene where I don't even know what the scene was. It was like maybe the officers jumped in and then it blows up and I just started dying laughing. I was like, this movie is ridiculous. This is over the top. This is ridiculous. And I figured that at the end of it because the opening movie opens up with Mother on fire. So I figured that at the end of the movie she's gonna set herself on fire. Set the house on fire. That's what I figured. And she gets to that point when she does. After she gives birth to a baby, after the baby gets killed, and then Attack on Titan happens, and they eat the baby, and you're just like, okay, well, I seen this on Attack on Titan. Alright, cool. You know, it's whatever. You do you, live your life, you're making movies, whatever you want to do, whatever. And she blows the house up, but I didn't expect the movie itself to repeat itself. Javier Bardem is a deity, the writer, the author, the poet, wherever the case may be. This is his story. And when Jennifer Lawrence blows herself up, he's alive and well, picking her up and is like, I just need your love. She gives, like, take your love. So he takes her heart out. And at the end of it all, this diamond that or this crystal that he put up on a stand early in the movie that gets broken, this is like his privatization. He talks about the events of this movie, how the house burned down and everything was built back up, and they're in the house that he was building up, and the movie opens up with a different woman, or the movie ends with a different woman going through the first scene of the movie. And I thought that was interesting. I actually enjoyed that piece of the ending of the movie. How you got there, I didn't enjoy it, but that piece, I was like, I like that. And the cycle starts all over again. I like that. I'm about that. I don't know what it was about that, but that made sense to me. Maybe it's moving on to a new relationship. Maybe it's doing something else. But whatever the case may be, Javier Bardem didn't learn jack shit. Sorry, YouTube. But his character made me mad. But he didn't learn jack squat. And here we are back over with new lady, back all over again, doing the same stuff. And the cycle continues. And I like the ending was so ridiculous over the top with the whole third act, but that last piece of it made like, okay, I get that, but how we got there, not a fan of it. Also the camera angles, I didn't like the whole shaky cam thing. I didn't really feel that. It just didn't really do it for me. Somebody else probably wouldn't care, but to me, I'm just like, eh. I do like this. I will say I do like the whole focal, like how they made it centered. Like most of the time it was on Jennifer Lawrence and it was in a small area. It wasn't like, the house was a big house, but you didn't really know how big the house really is because everything about it was so, what's the word, not maintained, but so, not concise, but it's like just in tight and just concealed, not concealed the word, but like just in focus more of the time. Like it didn't let you didn't really have that many wide shots in this movie. It was really in focus in a small, it felt like the movie, it felt like she was in a small house, you know, she wasn't. Also another thing, what's with movies having basements? Like horror movies having these basement scenes and the basement is super creepy. I never understood that. Like all horror movies I've watched, majority of them have a basement scene. Why is that necessary? Anyway, that's my thoughts on it and my likes and dislike. Another thing I would say, this is something as a fan of music, this movie has no music in it. None whatsoever. And when music in the movie is not done, because there's some movies you can watch. Castaway is one of my favorite movies. I don't know if it's top 10, maybe top 20. I should make a top 20 favorite movie list. But anyway, Castaway's on that list. Castaway doesn't have any music after the crash and when he gets back home. That's it. Majority of that movie is silent. Pure silent. You listen to natures, you listen to sounds, listen to Tom Hanks. So everything happens so amplified in that movie. This movie's the same way. There's no music. Domhnall Gleeson pops up in this movie for me. I love Domhnall Gleeson. Like that dude, Frank, About Time, like he's phenomenal. And he showed up. I was like, oh my gosh, Domhnall Gleeson's in this movie. Let's go. He shows up for a moment. But like when his scenes are in and the things he do in this movie, there's no music behind it. It's just pure sound. That's interesting. That's unique. And there's movies where you watch and they take away music and you know that scene would be like, there's a moment here. This whole movie's a moment, I would say. Like even the whole World War III crazy catastrophic third world bombing scene where just like people were run down and people were like begging and their clothes are in the war-torn clothes. Like Children of Man, that third act in Children of Man, people was dressed like that in this movie. I'm just like, how did we get here? How do people change their clothes? The concept of time in this movie doesn't exist either. That's another thing. There's a concept of time that's not there at all. Anyway, with all that being said, pretty much the whole third world and everything I was mentioning up there in the concept of time, like there was no music played in that whole scene. It was just pure silence. Pure silence. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the director and writer and cast. So I'm gonna mess this dude's last name up, but Darren Aronofsky, Aaron Aronofsky, Darren Aronofsky. Sorry, man, if I messed your name up. I really am sorry about that. But he's the director and writer of this. So Darren's the director and writer. This movie had a budget of $30 million and it grossed worldwide $44,500,000 plus. So they got a little bit of their money back on this movie. I remember seeing trailers for this movie. I just remember being like thinking like, oh yeah, Jennifer Lawrence in a horror movie. Neat. Like I just was not bothered to see this movie in person and the time it came out. But Mother from 2017, rated R. It's a drama, mystery, horror movie. And let's go ahead and get in the cast. Jennifer Lawrence, who plays Mother. I thought Jennifer Lawrence was solid. The character that she's supposed to be and the way she portrayed herself at the beginning of the movie and then towards the end, I thought Jennifer Lawrence was a solid character, solid act. Like she was doing a good job in this movie. The acting in this movie is pretty solid. Like, the acting movie all around is pretty solid. So when I couldn't talk about the cast, I'm just talking about the characters they portrayed. But yeah, Jennifer Lawrence did a great job as Mother. Javier Bardem, who played him, the husband, was a dick. The dude was, I did not like his character at all. I was like, dude, man, you're not giving to your wife at all. But like what he was doing, like it made sense. And I understand the storyline that was being portrayed thanks to Javier's acting. Like, I mean, the acting in this movie was solid. Great in this movie. There's a time though with Jennifer Lawrence, like when she started to get like, get some gusto and try to get strong and have courage. She didn't come off strong to me. I don't know, maybe because it's like she was so mild-mannered and meek throughout the whole movie. I was like, yeah, I'm not believing at this point. But the acting between those two and the chemistry they had on screen, I thought was great. Ed Harris, who played the doctor, who's the man, thought he did a great job. Michelle Pfeiffer, who played the woman who was the wife of the doctor, I wanted to like kick her out of the house so quick. Like, I didn't even care. Like, she was such a jerk to Jennifer Lawrence's character that I was like, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here. I don't like you. Like, Michelle Pfeiffer did a good job for that character. Also, shout out to Domhnall Gleeson, who was in this movie. It was just cool to see him for a moment. I was like, hey, Harry Potter, Star Wars. Domhnall Gleeson did a lot. All right, any other thoughts? Nah, I talked about the camera. I already talked about the lack of music in this movie, which I thought was a cool touch. Camera angle, camera setup, like the camera angles. There's only 3. The camera, by the way, was filmed on I believe a 16mm camera, handheld, and there's only 3 angles in this movie you're actually going to see. You're going to see the close-up, the first person, and over the shoulder. I actually looked that up because I was like, what camera technique is being used here with the whole shaky cam? And it's probably because it was on a handheld that they did that, the shaky cam that way. I didn't like it, the shaky cam, but the fact, like, the different angles, I was cool with that. Color in this movie is more of a dull movie. There's not that much color in this movie. Like, you're not gonna see bright pops of color, really. It's more of a horror movie kind of vibe, so you can get more dull colors. You know, there is sunlight, even though there is blue skies, it's gonna be more of a dull horror, your traditional horror movie kind of vibe for a movie. All right, is this a Friday night movie? You know, it could be. It could be a Friday night movie. It could be. You can watch it with friends and family. I don't see. Everybody's gonna have a very interesting time. That'd be an interesting movie to talk about. But yeah, sure, it's a Friday night movie. You can have a Friday night movie with this. Grading time. I'm gonna grade Mother from 2017 a solid C. This movie gets a 75% for me. The third act really lost the rails for me. It really went over the top, but the concept, the storyline that was playing, the horror movie for the first hour and 15 minutes, that vibe of it, it really had me. And then that third act, I was like, bruh. Like, me shaking my head right now and me just looking off in silence is like, this is what this movie made me feel. I was like, y'all really went over the top for no reason. No reason. No reason. No reason. You could have just kept it. You could have just kept it how it is, man. I could have had that third act. That third act. But the rest of the movie, the hour and 15 minutes of this movie is good. Just after the I'm pregnant scene, she has a baby. Like, not the fact that she has a baby, but after that scene where they make love to each other, Javier and Jennifer Lawrence make love to each other, and she wakes up and says, I'm pregnant. After that, this movie takes a turn, and I'm just like, why? That's my ending. Why? Just why? Then you get to the final end, and I was like, this makes sense. But the rest of it to get there, it was not necessary. Not necessary. You could have had her burn down the house and the family moved in and taken over. Like, that would have made sense to me. The justification of that, she had a baby, she lost her baby because the family was like, you're not having a family here, we're taking over. Like, that would have made sense to me. The family take over and she's trapped in her own house. That made sense to me. But this whole war-torn police, military, third world, like, run-down, war-ravaged area, like, why? This movie gets a C for that. This movie gets a C for that. That third act really gives it a C. It really does. 75% for me. IMDb gives it a 6.6 out of 10, which is a D. Rotten Tomatoes give it a 68%, which is a D+. Facebook gives it a 3.7 out of 5, which that's a C for me. But yeah, that's fair. I'm actually curious because Rotten Tomatoes, when you see Rotten Tomatoes, it always gives you the critics version. I'm curious what the fans thought of this movie. The critics give it a 68%, and the audience score gives it a 51%. The audience gave this movie an F. So, yeah, that's my review of Mother. It's a 75% for me. That is a C. Like I said, the acting in this movie was solid. The first hour of 15 minutes, like literally the first act, second act, and then the third act was like, y'all didn't have to do that. If y'all didn't do that, I think this movie would be graded a lot higher. It was a solid hour and 15 minutes where I was like, felt the horror for the character, felt anxiety for the character. The whole house thing, I figured that out, but like literally the ending piece was, If you see Mother, what did you think? Because I'm done talking about this movie. I'm actually getting genuinely upset. Not Avatar Last Airbender upset, but I'm getting there thinking about that third act. It's getting me there. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at a C before I drop my grade. If you see Mother for 2017, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.